Trump may have made his biggest mistake yet by provoking the IRGC with fresh strikes as tensions surge again around Iran. Iran's Khatam Al-Anbiya military headquarters is vowing a harsh response, signaling that Tehran sees the attacks as a serious escalation. Mujtaba's military is issuing advance warnings as the Hormuz crisis reignites fears of a broader regional confrontation. Iran's Khatam Al-Anbiya military headquarters said, and I quote, "The unprecedented event and popular presence in the funeral and farewell of the martyred leader of the Islamic Ummah inflicted a humiliating defeat on global arrogance and criminal America. The terrorist American army, without any adherence to its commitments, and while the pure body of the martyred leader of the Muslims and the free people of the world is a guest of the officials and the brave people of Iraq, in an open aggression, targeted some points in the south of our beloved country, Iran. The armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will give a crushing response to America's aggression and terrorist act, and under no circumstances will they allow them to interfere in the affairs of the Strait of Hormuz or its management. It is declared once again that the only safe passage for the transit of commercial ships and oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz is the route determined by the Islamic Republic of Iran." Unquote. Iran claims the ceasefire was violated after U.S. strikes hit its territory during the period of Khamenei's funeral, sharply escalating tensions. Is the war restarting? An Iranian lawmaker says the ceasefire was breached and warns Tehran could respond with fresh force. Tehran says repeated U.S. breaches have put the memorandum under severe strain and could render its commitments meaningless. An Iranian lawmaker warns U.S. violations could trigger a smart and deterrent response, according to recent remarks. The fragile truce is under growing pressure as Iran flags U.S. actions in and around Hormuz as violations. Iran is warning Washington that ceasefire breaches will carry a heavy cost if the attacks continue. The U.S. has hit Iran after attacks on vessels in Hormuz triggered a dangerous new escalation. Strikes have rocked Bandar Abbas and Qeshm as Washington launches a retaliatory response, according to reports. The U.S. military is said to have targeted Iranian air defenses along with missile and drone sites. The Hormuz flashpoint is deepening as Washington strikes Iranian targets near the vital waterway. Explosions were heard across southern Iran after the U.S. military launched its strikes. Pezeshkian is heading back to Iran from Iraq as the U.S. strikes send shockwaves across the region. U.S. Central Command says the strikes were carried out in response to attacks on 3 commercial vessels. U.S. Central Command said, and I quote, "U.S. Central Command forces have begun launching a series of powerful strikes against Iran to impose heavy costs for targeting and attacking commercial shipping crewed by innocent civilians in an international waterway. The U.S. strikes are in response to Iranian attacks on 3 commercial vessels that were transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's demonstrated aggression was unwarranted, dangerous, and a clear violation of the ceasefire." Unquote. A tanker was struck by an unidentified projectile while transiting the Strait of Hormuz, according to UKMTO, raising immediate alarm in the narrow and strategically vital waterway. UKMTO said on July 7 that the vessel suffered structural damage in the incident, but there were no casualties reported. No pollution or environmental impact has been reported following the incident, suggesting that the tanker's cargo and fuel tanks remained intact and that there has been no oil spill into the surrounding sea. UKMTO has launched an investigation to determine the cause of the strike, focusing on what kind of projectile was involved, where it may have originated, and whether it forms part of a broader pattern of hostile activity. Ships transiting the strait have been urged to exercise caution and report any suspicious activity, with maritime authorities calling on captains to maintain high situational awareness. This was the 3rd such incident reported near the critical oil choke point on July 7, underscoring a worrying cluster of events in a single day. A Saudi-flagged crude oil tanker was damaged near the Strait of Hormuz off the coast of Oman, Reuters reported. The incident on July 7 came just days after an earlier attack on a Qatari LNG tanker in the same strategic maritime corridor. Maritime security sources told Reuters that the exact cause of the explosion had not yet been determined. The damaged vessel was believed to be the Saudi-flagged supertanker Wedyang, according to the maritime security sources. Marine traffic tracking data showed the Wedyang was last recorded inside the Persian Gulf on July 3 before the incident. Iranian state television claimed the tanker was attacked because it was using Oman's side of the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, an Iranian lawmaker said any future arrangement for the Strait of Hormuz without Tehran's participation would fail. Alaeddin Boroujerdi said Iran had decided to change the framework governing the Strait of Hormuz after the recent war. Boroujerdi said Iran's parliament would move to approve legislation on managing the strategic waterway at the earliest opportunity. He added that all relevant Iranian state institutions would be required to implement the new measures governing the Strait of Hormuz. War fears are rising once again after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was accused of striking a commercial vessel linked to a key U.S. Arab ally. Reports claim the IRGC fired missiles at commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, threatening one of the world's busiest maritime routes. The Strait of Hormuz has erupted into fresh turmoil, with reports suggesting a Qatari LNG tanker was among the vessels caught in the attack. 2 commercial ships were reportedly hit as the IRGC allegedly began carrying out revenge for the death of Ali Khamenei. A Qatari liquefied natural gas tanker was reportedly caught in the missile attack near the Strait of Hormuz, according to reports. The IRGC is now being accused of targeting global shipping even as diplomatic efforts between Washington and Tehran continue. Missiles have once again shaken the Strait of Hormuz, placing global shipping on high alert. The IRGC has warned merchant fleets that its missiles and drones remain ready for action. A tanker erupted in flames after reportedly being struck by a missile off the coast of Oman. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations confirmed that a tanker had been struck as security around the Strait of Hormuz rapidly deteriorates. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations said, and I quote, "UKMTO has received a report of an incident 8 nm east of Lima, Oman. A tanker has reported being hit by an unknown projectile on the port side, causing a fire whilst traveling southbound. No casualties or environmental impact reported. Authorities are investigating. Vessels are advised to transit with caution and report any suspicious activity." Unquote. The United States has accused Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of attacking civilian shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Commercial ships were reportedly damaged as fears grow that the Iran conflict is once again spilling into a vital global sea lane. The IRGC has warned vessels to avoid routes protected by US-led security operations in the Strait of Hormuz. Despite the attack, authorities say no casualties have been reported, even as concern spreads across the shipping industry. Analysts warn the latest strike could threaten global oil and liquefied natural gas supply chains. After targeting military assets, the IRGC is now accused of taking aim at merchant vessels. The shipping crisis is deepening as missiles are reportedly fired into one of the world's most strategic maritime corridors.